Faith alone. The thing is, when Sproul wrote this, he was actually under contract to write it. And in the providence of God, the ECT controversy broke out right as he was supposed to write this. So this book was written with a special fire in his guts. And then another book that Sproul wrote not too long after, Getting the Gospel Right, because the same group, many of the same guys that did ECT, did another document called The Gift of Salvation, which compromised the gospel almost as bad as ECT did. Justification by faith alone. I remember coming to understand that. Oh my goodness, it was so important to my own life, my own spiritual life, my own heart, my own ministry. And it's one of the reasons that I'm such a stick in the mud about the federal vision and the new perspectives, because they all deny it. And you know who saw that too, especially with the new perspectives on Paul? Our brother, R.C. Sproul. R.C. was willing to say what very few were willing to say. I want to play just a real quick little clip from Sproul here. Listen to R.C.
Dr. Sproul, you quoted Martin Luther, justification by faith alone is the foundation upon which the church stands or falls. The question is, what are we to believe about N.T. Wright's doctrine of imputation? What does the new perspectives on Paul do to sola fide?
Destroys it. And the gospel with it.
Did you hear that? So, Professor Sproul, what does N.T. Wright and the new perspectives on Paul do to the doctrine of imputation? He said, destroys it and the gospel with it. He's seriously one of the only guys in the scholarly Reformed academic community willing to say that. Everyone else, well, N.T. Wright is a brilliant scholar and has written so many books I've found so very helpful, and we need to listen to him. And every time he writes another book, I always get it and read it. He just cuts right to it. This guy is wrong on the gospel. What Sproul goes on to say.
The second part of that question was, is his view heretical?
If it isn't, then there's no such thing as heresy.
You believe what he says about justification in his book, What St. Paul Really Said? Listen, you will go to hell when you die. You believe what he teaches about the gospel? You're not a Christian. We have to say the truth if we love the truth. And there's nothing more loving than the truth. You care about people? You care about people that are trapped in false religions, that are in heretical forms of quote-unquote pseudo-Christianity? You got to tell them the truth. And you know what? That means you're going to have a lot of people that don't like you. But that's okay. If people don't like you because of your strong stands for the gospel, that's okay. Jesus said, Luke 6:26, listen carefully. Jesus said, woe is you when all men speak well of you. Why would he say that? Because if everybody speaks well of you and everybody likes you, you don't stand for anything. Genesis 3:15, the Holy Spirit of God breathing forth through the pen of Moses for all future generations. Enmity I will put between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. That term avah in Hebrew, enmity, means hate with a desire to murder. And what happens in the very next chapter? Cain murders Abel. Why? Why would he murder his brother? 1 John 3:10 tells us, because Cain's works were evil and Abel's were righteous. He killed his brother just because he was righteous, because he was accepted by God and he wasn't.